Melbourne victory. Who will grasp it and make it their own? The next 90 minutes, perhaps 120, perhaps a little bit more, will decide. Two sides here already this season, where Bruno Fornaroli scored the goal of the season into the top corner of Danny Vukovic's goal. Alu Kwol was on the score sheet that day. Nishan Velupillay as well. He starts on the bench. And first, in nearly 4,000 days, Mashash has done well to release Arzani. Mashash wants it back. He's in behind Kaltak. But are you ever truly...
On the open market would be the #1 centre-half to be targeted. At least you could mount an argument for that. And like closing victory down as quickly as they can, playing forward as quickly as they can. They've really set the tone for this game, and as I said, victory have more than willing.
Superstition there, considering he did the same last year, and they went on to that 6-1 grand final victory over Melbourne City. Well, they ruined Wellington Phoenix's fairy tale run last weekend in the semis. Newcastle haven't forgotten the 2018 match, grand final at home in Newcastle. A little turn from Mashash.
Yeah, seating has replaced the sauce bottles, but I don't want to take away from the occasion. Nothing could. This is utterly brilliant. They do leave a bit of a gap next to the scoreboard, don't they?
Docker again. The Mariners on the front foot. Dan Hall, he came off the bench in last year's grand final. So did Christian Theoharis. So did this man, Jacob Farrell. Theoharis pushing up on the left. Storm Rue up on the right. It's an attacking formation with Mashash. Gets it back, changes the angle. This is a nicely worked move. Arzani to the back post to Silva. Appeals for a handball from both sets of play. No handball there. No. It landed on the top of the shoulder of Dan Hall.
More in hope than belief, you'd think. Flown by.
Khalifi's done well again. He'll get there ahead of Dan Hall. Little ball for Mashash. He tries to turn Kaltak. The third best defence in the land, Tony Popovic's side. In the elimination final, salvation came from Nishan Velupillay in the 88th minute.
Takes a lot to beat Danny Vukovic nowadays, and he needed the help of the slightly off direction shot there from Arzani, but a good effort nonetheless.
And again, the Mariners have given it away by just bundling Roderick Miranda off the ball, did Alu Kwol. He only knows one speed. Tap, free kick goes up. They played their first match of the AFC Cup with Abasad in charge in Malaysia. They still hadn't named Mark Jackson. And in the end, Jacko.
On the back of that, then this year, Marco Tullio, the excellent Brazilian, left in the transfer window for Japan in January, and more recently, Angel Torres is up the other. They release very quickly. Josh Nisbet's lurking with intent, and on the back of victory, completing a very, very impressive attack. Then they're stretched defensively
until that red card early on in the Melbourne derby. Kicking out at Leo Natel. But he does provide a spark, and he also combines very well with Fornaroli and Arzani. Does Mashash. He also gives away a fair few fouls, which he's done.
Passionate, very emotional, tired. Quality recruit from Victory. I think he seems to have really enjoyed his time with the club as well.
And re-signed a new extended deal.
That's a pretty good indication. I think he's been terrific.
test for Lizzo. So far in this contest, Danny Vukovic has been the busier of the two keepers, but two more and important goals as well along the way. Ballard back down with Stormroot. As soon as you step into that central third of this contest in midfield and defence, if there is any space, it's to be found out on the wings. Dan Hall, rumoured to be on his way at the end of the season. Same for Nisbet and Ballard. How they would dearly love to sign off with that third championship triumph, perhaps the last.
Arzani, same side of the field, but the victory excellent as well. It's a key battle on this near touchline, both with Xhaka hitting the ball nicely. Harris couldn't control the opportunity left, and now it's victory away. Khalifi burning the grass.
Traore with a great ball now. Fornaroli turns away from. Well, Danny Vukovic saw the first one from that. That was a really good stop. These two sides don't concede that many shots at goal. Nisbet coming deep, looking for the ball. Here's Ballard. Farrell wins the free kick off Fornaroli. It's contact. Such a well-organised defensive unit, hardly any options for the Mariners, even forced to work for that pass, and there's no option for Ballard. As back they come again. Now Dan Hall with Docker. He looks over the top for Stormroot. It's a beautifully weighted. Guerrier looking forward, trying to accelerate the play. Valadon, space on the right. Guerrier can measure the cross. It's a good ball. The header from an unlikely source in Ryan Teague.
Isn't it unlikely tonight? He really is in the mood, and he's got players responding to that as well. They're in a great place at the moment. Melbourne victory.
Just the one goal in his A-League career for Ryan Teague earlier this season against Wellington Phoenix. Tactically astute, and for the moment they're cancelling each other out largely, even if victory have had the better. When it counts, Nisbet looking for assist number 10 of the season, can't find it. Ballard. Ball back with Kaltak. Those two happy to hold on to the ball. Kaltak has had the most touches of the football all season. Followed by Dan Hall. Then we head into the midfield with Ballard, Tapp and Nisbet. Is there time for one more chance at the end of this first half? Match which has seen both sides enjoy their times of possession. Victorian capital at 5 a.m. this morning to make their way up. They've been making plenty of noise all afternoon in Gosford.
People have responded, most importantly the players. The fans have done their bit, they've turned out, they've created enormous noise and electricity. And the players both been excellent, both sets of players.
Here goes Damien De Silva on the charge, the centre-back with the cross in. Cleared by Dan Hall. Play on, says the referee.
That ripping goal last week to give Victory the lead in the semi against Wellington. And a week later, he has a similar opportunity.
And a first shot across the bow of the Central Coast Mariners at the start of this second half. There were a bit of a taste of his own medicine. Zizou. Fornaroli being buffeted about by Hall, and then Ballard wins the free kick.
Well, second half has started the way the first.
The Mariners settle things down again. Kaltak this time, looking for that incisive pass to Docker, not finding it. The pass has been intercepted. Here's space for Mashash. On the charge, it's a good ball. Khalifi, Salim Khalifi. Great block by Dan Hall. From Japan to join up with Tony Popovich in Perth and then return. Dan Hall straightens up, Docker with Ballard. End of that, but it's well won back by Storm Roux. Edmonds, the Central Coast Mariners. There's still plenty of time left in this. The goal coming 5 minutes after the restart. Edmondson with Mark Jackson. Looks like he's about to head to his bench. Game breaker, Miguel De Pizio. After waiting 88 minutes in the preliminary, the elimination rather, against Melbourne City in the derby. Adama Traore after 82 minutes to break the deadlock in Wellington. They couldn't hold on inside the 90 a week ago. Still, the cutback. Well, he did well to get the better of Guerrier. Fornaroli loses out. Great play, Dan Hall, too strong.
Well done from Dan Hall. Anticipate.
DePizio waiting to enter the throw.
In this grand final, Christian Theoharis. It's now for DePizio to see if he can do what he did in the AFC Cup.
Change the Melbourne victory in mind only. Of course, Lee Broxham, who's watching from the stands this evening, and Archie Thompson, who incidentally is also watching from the stands this evening. Fornaroli with the first introduction for Valupale. Manages to keep it in play, only just. Arzani now. Look back to Wellington a week ago. Tony Popovich talks about learning from your mistakes. If they do that this evening, victory may have it. Mark Jackson has already made 2 substitutions. Docker rides the challenge of team.
Victory physicality that's just taken that initiative out of the thinking maybe of the Mariners players, but if they can rediscover that, they'll cause Victory some more trouble. But at the moment, Victory just picking them off nicely.
It's a great ball over the top for Lupale, for Arzani. Fornaroli running. Here it is. Oh, he's been forced wide by Arzani. Nullified nearly every Mariners threat so far. Melbourne victory. Mashash on his way. Zinedine Mashash still. He beat one.
Team coach, but people shouldn't be under any illusion. The Mariners will be able to run this one out and run it out hard. And this will be a question.
Given the signal to Harrison Steele and Ronald Barcelous. It's their time now. Rue back with Hall. Brings the ball under control and gets it back to Hall. In behind, looking for Rue, but it's overhit. Right now or never, Andy. But we're getting there for the Mariners.
Yeah, no, it's look, they kept themselves in the contest and wouldn't expect anything less from them.
And last season came off the bench in the grand final. Now he starts. Gets the free kick in the end. Stoppages, of course. Fornaroli. Kalami flattening the back play. Trying to scoop the ball past Valadon. Cleared by Guerrier. Docker again. Valiantly so far, over 78 minutes. For the final crowning glory of this season. Teague. Velupale goes again. Oh, the long legs, telescopic from Dan Hall.
Necessary too. Really needed to make that intervention. All the ball is with the Mariners. It's not an unusual story based on the trend of the game generally, but they can't crack this last line.
Again, Docker looking for the physio. It's just lacking a little bit of precision at the moment. Fornaroli again throwing himself in front of the ball. Is palpable. Docker against Traore. Docker, he looks up and crosses. Docker. Steps left. There's the player plus, the Paramount plus player index. Jason Guerrier. It's been his grand final so far. De Silva, Caltac, Varane.
The big four. Both sets of central defence have been outstanding again. I mentioned it at the top of the game, top of the broadcast. And they haven't
to make changes. 4 and 5 as the break might be on. Fornaroli wants to look right for Falami. Caltac flying across, didn't get there.
Well, Falami touches, he's in on goal. That could have been the game. As it is, the Mariners still have a pulse.
All 5 substitutions. He hasn't done so in the Mariners' last 7 games. In fact, he's only made every sub 7 times this season.
Well, Jingles wouldn't hurt at the moment. It's something fresh in the penalty area, attacking-wise for the Mariners.
Nisbet with Steele. They've had more different goal scorers than any other side this season, the Mariners. Is there a more nervous man in Gosford than Tony Popovich?
And for the Central Coast to resurrect their hopes, it's going to be another instalment.
And just as it was a week ago against Wellington, victory, have conceded a draw. That's what he is meant to do.
That's it. The noise here at the moment would go close to waiting. Central Coast's most favourite, famous ever personalities from the grave, Spike Miller. If you're wondering what's going on here, it's mayhem in Gosford.
moves long. The Mariners, they want more. DePizio with it. Added on for Edmondson's equaliser. Falami. Paul, long. Miranda back.
Look for Tony Popovich at this point in the heat of battle. 4 losing grand final efforts. No bad performances in any of those, just the way it goes. And they've been great again tonight. With the Mariners mighty in their comeback.
They've won 4 of them before the end of 120 minutes. 3 times it's gone to penalties. Losing 2, both in the grand finals to Sydney FC. And then winning their first ever A-League Finals penalty shootout 3 weeks ago against Melbourne City. They've won 1 and lost 1 in extra time. As Hall looks outside for Docker. Here's DePizio. A nuisance of himself. And the break might be on here for Economides. Against Caltac. Falami on the charge.
In huge numbers and voice, a sensational grand final, which couldn't be settled in normal time.
And now, victory. Dan Hall trying to get back. Falami. Well, he almost played a perfect. Caltac, who broke the code when he signed pro. Back-to-back grand finals in his first 2 ever. DePizio does just enough legally to get the better of Valupale, but not Traore. He gets another chance with Nisbet. Space, who almost wanted him back as soon as he turned 18. And he had to plead to stay. Perhaps he knew what
could have predicted what the Mariners have built for themselves this season. They're not there yet. Listen to this place. There's another whole half of extra time to go.
And you talk about the football they've played, how it's been the same players week in, week out who have done the business for them. Plenty of kids with the earmuffs on as well here. And well, there might be. Valupale, it might not be finished yet. Traore clips it back post. And now the Mariners had the chance to try it when he was in charge. The first time a defending champion had ever lost their first 4 matches of the season. Ball rifled in. Economides. Well, he scored a last-minute winner in the cup. Valupale. Rimmer's pass. Economides a turn to try and get in behind. Now DePizio can't beat.